I'm the Wall Street Yardie, and each week I've been coming to you with the weekly market report, getting you set up for the week, and then also showing you a lot of chart work on various names. Well, today what I wanted to do was show you how to set your chart up on TradingView so it looks like mine and you can play along. So let's jump right on in. All right, here we are in TradingView. And if you don't know what that is, TradingView is the charting platform. If you're trading, investing, or doing anything with the stock market, Forex market, futures market, and need to do technical chart work, TradingView is the tool you need to be using. I use it every day. This is where I come for my charts. I like to use TradingView because it is separate from my broker. I do not execute trades on TradingView. I simply do all my chart work here. I find my levels, I set my entry points, I create my plan. Once I have my plan, I then execute all of my trades on my broker, which for me right now, that's think or swim. Let's jump into TradingView and show you kind of the settings that I have here. We're gonna start with the chart. All right, so what you're gonna do is you're gonna go to tradingview.com if you don't already have an account, sign up. I'm gonna drop a link below in the description. It's a referral link for my TradingView account, so you'll be helping me out a little bit with that. But go ahead, click on that, sign up. You can start with a free account. One little tip, when you sign up for TradingView, the discount actually gets bigger the closer you get to the end of your trial. So if you do want to sign up and pay, wait towards like the day before or your trial ends, and you're going to get the best discount. Also, what I do each year is I wait for the Black Friday sale in November. That is always the best price every year. So that is when I renew, is on Black Friday. When the Black Friday sale hits, that's when I renew. All right, so just some tips there to help save you some money. Let's get right on into the charts and show you kind of how I got things set up. So the first thing we're gonna do, we're gonna look at the chart background itself. You notice Wall Street Yardie is all about Jamaica, right? So Jamaica is black, green, and gold all day long. So we're gonna keep our chart background black. Some of you might like it white. That's fine. You might have to adjust some colors so that it fits in, but for the Yardie, we're going to keep everything black. So the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to right click here on my chart. I'm going to go to settings. Now we're going to pull up all the settings so you can see kind of what I have set up. So for my candles, we're going to start here with the first top tab in the settings. Candles here are this green and red. So we're going to go ahead and just use kind of the defaults. I didn't change these. One thing I did change is made the wicks white. So that way they stand out. Now, of course, obviously, if you're using the white background, you can flip that to black. We're going to stick with the Yardie colors for now. Status line, this is the line here at the top left. It'll be the name of the company or the stock and everything that shows up for them, the high, low, all that jazz. We just have these checked here, so you can go ahead and check those for yourself. Scales and lines. The one thing I do kind of turn on here, pre and post market, sometimes I'll have on if I ever drop down to the intraday charts. So those are the 5 minutes, 1 minute, so on and so forth. I have those there. These are just the defaults as well. So I haven't changed much here. The canvas is where the biggest change is going to come in. So you're going to change your background. I've got this, the black color here. And then I'm going to go ahead and come down here to the grid lines. I changed those to vertical and horizontal, but I made the horizontal ones very transparent. So I switched the opacity all the way down to 0 here. And then I have this gray with 100% opacity. I believe it's this one here. If you're looking at the chart here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, the 7th one across right on the top row. That's the gray I use. So that stands out right there along with the black. And then the rest of it is pretty much standard. So don't change much there. Trading, I don't really use this one. Alerts, not messing with that. And then the only other thing I keep on the chart as well, I want to know when splits happen and when earnings are coming up, and those show up here at the bottom. If you notice, I have the E here. Obviously, Amazon doesn't have any splits at this moment, so that chart's not showing any. But that's it. That's the basic there. Now, once you do that, you get everything set up. You're gonna come in here and you could save this and give it a nice name, right? So I saved mine as day trade or whatever you might want to call it. Call it your basic chart or whatever you choose to. So that way, if you ever need to come back here and switch to the template, you could just quickly pick the right name. So that's how you set up the chart itself. And then now let's get into looking at some of the indicators we want to add to this chart. Right now, the only one that we have here on the bottom is our volume, and we're going to talk about only really one setting we need to set in this one. So for the volume, we're going to come up here to the top left. You should see this vol here. If it's not here, then you can go into indicators and you can type in volume here. It'll be this first one, right? So if you don't see it here in your top left, or it's not showing at the bottom of your chart, usually is by default, then you can always come into the indicators button here, type in volume, pick that one, and once you do that, it'll add it to the chart for you. Once we have that on the chart, we're going to come up here, pick the little settings button. We want to put our MA length, not 10, but 20. So this is, we want the 20-day moving average for volume. What this is going to give us is a monthly view of how volume has been flowing. I use this on the chart to kind of gauge my volume. One of the hardest things to read when you're reading the charts is the volume. It's very relative to the candles. It's very relative to each other to kind of know. So when we have a 20-day moving average, that's this orange line that's kind of traversing here at the bottom. This is the moving average for the volume. I know when these volume bars are above that line or below that line. If it's above the line, I know the volume is more than average. If it's below the line, obviously less than average, right? So I'll know if it's a big volume day, a regular volume day, or whatnot. And then I match that up with my candles and my support and resistance levels to determine whether that's a good place to take a trade or not, or if I'm seeing weakness, so on and so forth. So we talk about that on the weekly market report a lot. So I want to make sure I covered volume. That's the one indicator that just has to be on your chart at all times. You need to know how the money is flowing, if they're trading this heavily this day or not. So you want to be able to see that, and the 20-day moving average on that setting there. So the moving average 20 is what you want to have on there. Style wise, I leave the orange. It's fine. I like to have it a little more distinct than everything else on the chart. So that's how you set up the background on the chart, as well as add the volume to the chart as well, or set up the volume on the chart as well. So let's jump into the next indicator here. What I want to talk to you about was some moving averages. I use the moving averages quite a bit, so let's talk about those. The next indicator that I have on my chart, really the last indicator I have on my chart, and actually if you're on the free version of TradingView, you are limited to 2 indicators, and we already have volume as one that's set up. The other thing I like to keep on my chart are the moving averages. Simple moving averages is what I use. Some folks like the exponential. I found that it doesn't make a difference, so I keep it simple. What we're gonna do here is we're gonna go up to the indicators, and because I know some of you are on the free version of TradingView, I'm gonna show you a little cheat code here to get all 3 moving averages that I use, the 20-day moving average, the 50-day moving average, and the 200-day moving average, all on your chart with one indicator. So we're gonna come up here, select indicators, and we're gonna type in 4 simple. All right, we don't need to go any further. The one I'm looking for, it should show up for you here under community. I start it, so you could start yourself. This is one of my favorites. And it's the one that is created by CryptoTech91. So that's the one I want. I click on it here. It adds it to the chart, as you can see in the background. And then now we need to go in and set up the settings for this guy. So let's open this up. We'll flip over to inputs. We'll turn on the 2nd-day moving average. These might be your numbers that you're seeing as well. So the length is the 10-day. I don't really use that. I'm gonna show you how to turn that off without changing the number here. But what you want here is you want to set up your length 10 for the first one, for the second one 20, length 3 is 50, length 4 is 200. So 20-day, 50-day, 200-day. That's on the daily chart. So it's really the intervals depending on what time frame you're on the chart, but I trade on the daily, so that's why I'm using the word day, right? So what we want to do is we're going to come over to the style tab now, and we'll just uncheck this first one, which was our 10-day average. We don't show it on the chart. We don't really need it on our chart. I don't use it. It follows price way too close for me, so it's going to just whipsaw you in and out of trades if you try to use it for any kind of support resistance. I found it's kind of useless. So color wise, for the MA2, I just click on the yellow here. This is the top yellow on this line. Put my thickness to the 2nd thickness, and I keep a solid line. Thickness and solid line for all 3 of these. The next one is just the orange color. Same thing there. That's the 50-day. And then my 200-day, I pick this green here, right at the top of the green column here. Same thickness and so on and so forth. And that's it. Once you have those on, now you have all your moving averages here. If you want to spot the trend quickly, this is easy, right? Because now we just look for when the 20-day is above the 50-day and the 50-day is above the 200, that's an uptrend. If it's the other way around, as you can see here back in February, we had the 20-day below the 50 and the 50 below the 200. We were in a downtrend right here, right? So this is why I like to use the moving averages. It shows me 1, the trend, and then 2, it plays as support and resistance. Here you see price came down, bounced off, came down, bounced off. So this is why I like to use these. And if you're on the free version of TradingView or just getting started, using the 4 simple moving averages is a nice little cheat code there, so you could have them all on your chart at the same time. and you can follow along with what I'm doing. All right, now that we have the volume and the moving averages on our chart, I wanted to show you real quick some tips and tricks to kind of make the drawing of the lines a lot easier. The first thing I'm going to do is go over here to my toolbox on the left, and as you can see here, I have my magnet turned on. The option I choose here is the weak magnet because it allows me a little bit more freedom when I'm drawing my lines. If I have the strong magnet, you could see here, if I grab this horizontal line, it always wants to, no matter where I put it, it always wants to snap to the candle that is in that column. And that's not always what you want, right? So sometimes you need to move the line up or down a little bit. So I keep the weak magnet because the weak magnet then allows me to still snap to this. But if I want to move it up or down, I could still move it up or down here in this black space and draw my line wherever I want. So that's one tip or trick. I know that one throws some people off, so I wanted to point that out. Make sure you have the weak magnet on, not the strong one. The next thing I look at is I want to add some favorite tools or lines and things that I keep on the chart here. So I'll go up to the line tool here in the toolbox and I'll favorite the trend line, the horizontal line, the vertical line, and then also this parallel channel. I'll do another video, talk about what channels are and how to draw them, but keep that there, favorite that one as well. It's gonna come in handy dandy for you later, and we'll use that later on. The next section I go to is the Fibonacci retracement section here, where we have the Fibonacci retracement, which I talk about all the time on all the videos, pretty much. This is how we draw our lines. I have a video that is the easiest way to draw support and resistance on your chart using the Fibonacci retracement. So make sure you check that video out. We're going to go ahead and favorite that one as well. And then once you favorite all of those, what you're going to end up with is there's going to be a toolbar somewhere on your screen. I keep mine down here at the bottom. Yours might be at the top or wherever it may be. So just look out for it. But everything that you just favorited will show up here in this toolbar. So you don't have to go hunt for it to the left every single time. You can just quickly select the one there, draw your line, select the Fibonacci here, select your 2 points, right? Like we always do. And then your lines are there. So let's chat real quick about these Fibonacci levels so that you could get the same levels that I have when you draw your charts as well. So let's go ahead, do what we always do. We're going to find the low on the chart here, right? And then we're going to go ahead and pick the high. And there's our Fibonacci. So what we're going to do, as that is selected, you'll see settings here for the Fibonacci. And we'll go ahead and click into the settings. We don't care about the coordinates. What we want to go to is the Style tab. So I'll pause right here a little bit so that you can take a look at the levels that I have marked as well as the colors. What you'll notice is that the 0, I have this yellow kind of going on here, but the key levels is going to be the 0, 32, 618, and to the 1. And then my extensions, like I just had a video on UMC where we're at all-time highs. We need to figure out where the next levels are above. Those extension levels are here, 1.618, 1.732, 1.272, so on and so forth. So I'll pause real quick, take a screenshot of that so you have it on the side. So when you're setting it up, you can pop in all these numbers for yourself. Okay, so those are the Fibonacci levels. I think you've got everything you need at this point to set up the charts. All right, so that's what I wanted to show you today. I'm the Wall Street Yardie. Hope that was helpful. Catch you on the next one.